Hello, good morning.
Good morning. โอเคสวัสดีนะคะ Good morning everyone. Welcome to the second talk series for the RILCA Linguistic Forum. And today it's our pleasure to welcome Dr. Joanna Dolinska. She is visiting scholar at our institute and from University of Warsaw, Poland. Dr. Dolińska is a linguist from the Faculty of Liberal Arts, University of Warsaw, and her research interests falls on the documentation and revitalization of marginalized languages in Asia. She has been in Myanmar and Thailand. In Thailand, she worked with several ethnic minority groups in the north and also in the south of Thailand. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Joanna Dolinska.
Thank you very much, Sumitra. Thank you very much for this fantastic introduction. Sabatika, so I cannot refuse the opportunity to introduce myself in Thai as well. So, Chanchu Joanna Dolinska, Chanten, Nakwijai, Jak, Mahawitayalai, Warsaw, Chan Rian Pasa Thai, Te Wanni, Chan Jak, Put Pasa Angrit. And I would like to thank very much. I would like to say thank you to Professor Sumitra Suradecha for inviting me to this lecture. I would like to also say thank you to the organizers of this series of lectures. Thank you very much for hosting me here. It's a pleasure. I would also like to thank the photographer and the IT specialists. And I would like to welcome the online guests as well. Currently, I'm a visiting scholar at the Research Institute for Languages and Cultures of Asia. It's my great pleasure, and I'm looking forward to our further cooperation. Now I'm going to change the slides. So first of all, I wanted to mention my research background and then social linguistics background. I believe that I will surprise you today a bit with one of the topics that I'm going to tackle as well. But first things first. So my background is in historical linguistics. I defended my PhD thesis in historical comparative Altaic linguistics. So previously I worked with Mongolic, Tungusic, and Turkic languages. I defended my PhD thesis in 2019. And afterwards, I worked as a postdoctoral researcher at the Max Planck Institute for the Science of Human History in Germany. I posted these two pictures because they are very important for me. They represent my colleagues, myself, and the Mongolian president. This photo aged very well because still it's one of my favorite presidents. Leader of democracy in Mongolia, and Mr. Tsakekin Elbekdorj is the name of the president, and so I wanted to share it here. Also, when it comes to linguistics, I also work with social linguistics, just like Professor Sumitra Suradecha mentioned, and language documentation. Here I presented two photos from the SOAS RILCA workshops, where I met some of you who are here in this room 2 years ago. So it's my second longer visit at RILCA, and I'm very happy to be here a guest as well. I also carry out parts of my research in social anthropology. I carried out visiting research stays at the Cambridge University, at the University of Cambridge, in the Mongolian and Inner Asia Studies, and also in Smithsonian Institution. Furthermore, I also work with computational linguistics and language technologies. My collaboration in this field my work in this field started when I started collaborating with the University of Strasbourg, University of Groningen, together with Professor Sumitra Suradecha. We developed one grant proposal together with our colleague from there. I also used to work in Samsung Electronics, and this is where my interest in technology comes from. And now I'm in the second semester of postgraduate studies in big data analysis. But this was my scientific background, and I also wanted to mention something about my social linguistic background. So this is the part that I thought might surprise you a bit, maybe. I come from a region where many minority languages are spoken in Northeast Poland, and my family speaks Podlachian. Podlachian is a contested language, so it's not formally acknowledged yet. It's an Eastern Slavic language. And maybe I need to mention that Polish, my native language, is Western Slavic language. So this language that my family speaks, and not only my family, but the area, people in the area where I come from, belongs to a different sub-branch of languages. Also, I will mention the way that I try to promote this language at a higher level of education. I'm going to mention the workshop that we organized in Warsaw in June 2025. Furthermore, I will also mention the reasons why I started working with multilingualism in Southeast Asia. Especially, first I started in Myanmar, but I'm going to mention that later. And then this is how my love for multilingualism in Thailand developed. I became very interested not only in language minorities in Thailand, but also in Thai language, in Thai identity. I find these topics very fascinating, and I hope to continue my research in this field in the future as well. So coming back to my background, so here this is where Poland is located on the map. And on the right-hand side, you can see the region where I come from. In the square, you can see the sub-district where the two villages are located, from which my parents come from. One of them is called Dubicze Córkiewne, and the other one is called Kleszczele. I'm sorry, Dasze. Dasze is next to Kleszczele. And quite surprisingly, at the same time, these are two municipalities in Poland that are being depopulated in the fastest way. At the same time, they are becoming more and more touristy because of the quality of air, because of the natural resources. But once again, it's becoming difficult to live in this area as well, because as you can see, it's at the eastern border of Poland. Poland borders with Ukraine, with Belarus, with Russia as well. So this is a bit of a complicated region, and there are some limitations posed on population as well. So Podlachian language has many names. Those who don't consider it a language call it a mixture of Polish, Ukrainian, and Belarusian. But as we know, you cannot really name a language a mixture. So it's rather not the best term for a language. Another group of people says it's a mixture of Ukrainian, Belarusian, and Russian. Some people call it Chachwacki, but it's a derogatory negative term. Some people, for example, myself, call it Podlachian language. Some say it's a variety, and some say po swojemu variety. Po swojemu means in our own language. Here, just a few words about the multilingual upbringing in the region where I come from. So the generation where I come from, my generation, we all spoke Polish at home and at school, but we spoke po swojemu or Podlachian to our grandparents. For example, the names of our relatives in the countryside we learned first in po swojemu. So I never knew that Uncle Fiedia is actually Uncle Theodor. So it's something that we learned first, the po swojemu names. Even the dog of my grandpa, he had a name in po swojemu language, not in Polish. Also, many people in the region where I come from attend Eastern Orthodox Church, and this is where Old Church Slavonic is being spoken. So as children, we listened to sermons in a language that we didn't really understand, and we also had to learn prayers in this language. Some teachers translated it into Polish, some of them didn't. So here I wanted to show some glimpses from the workshop that I organized together with Professor Justyna Olko and Professor Tomasz Wicherkiewicz in the University of Warsaw. On the left-hand side, you can see a poster with a theater play, which is called Ugly Duckling. In po swojemu, it's Brytkie Kcienia. And here are some photos from this workshop. It was the first workshop organized at the University of Warsaw, at any university, which was devoted only to this language. And the next day was devoted also to other languages. I'd be happy to play a sample of this language. I hope it will be okay. I hope it will not cause any technical issues. So. It's me.
Podlasie jest domem dla swojej społeczności językowej, a szczegółowo dla tej, która posługuje się językom podlaskim, polskim, białoruskim, ukraińskim, rosyjskim, litewskim i jidysz. Jak było w spis powszechny w 2021 roku, 4,8% wskazało, że doma posługuje się innym językom niż polski. Obecność wpisanej na listę UNESCO Puszczy Białowieskiej i wielojęzyczny, wieloreligijny, wielokulturowy charakter Podlasia generuje dochody z turystyki dla życielów tego regionu.
So let me come back to the presentation. At the beginning of my presentation, I promised to tell you about what inspired my research in biodiversity and multilingualism in Thailand. And it all started in 2016 and 17. At that time, I worked in Myanmar, as Sumitra has mentioned, for an educational NGO, which is called Tabye Education Foundation. And at that time, I collaborated with students and teachers from various linguistic groups, and some of them came from the border area with Thailand. I worked especially with Karen community in Myanmar. I mean, not the community, but representatives of the community. And at that time, I started publishing popular science articles about multilingualism in Myanmar in the T-Circle Oxford portal, led by Professor Matthew Walton, who previously worked at the University of Oxford, now at the University of Toronto. And also, when we organized the first international conference for interpreters and translators in Myanmar, this is where I learned about the Moken community from one of the attending translators. It was an elderly lady, and she didn't talk much about the Moken community, but I realized that once she started talking publicly, it rose, it increased, it provoked a very big interest. And I think she was a bit scared of sharing more details, probably to protect the community. So at the end, I think that she decided to keep this knowledge to herself rather than to the media. But this is where I first heard about sea nomads or sea dwellers. So these are some photos from Myanmar. On the left-hand side, you can see these articles. One of them is called Language Diversity in Myanmar, a Blessing in Disguise. Also facilitators, mediators, fixers of voices of ordinary people, community interpreters in Myanmar. And on the right-hand side, you can see a picture from this conference. It was a fantastic event. It was when it was peaceful in Yangon, and of course I wish that the peace returns to Myanmar. Yes, so these are the photos from this conference. So this is how I became very interested in multilingualism in Southeast Asia, and also with communities that partly live in Myanmar, partly in Thailand. And here I wanted to move to the next part of my presentation. I wanted to share some information about the project that I have completed at the end of last year. So the title of the project is Interdependence of Multilingualism and Biodiversity in the Chiang Mai and Satun provinces in Thailand. Over the course of the project development, some of these provinces in the title changed because at the end I did carry out research in Chiang Mai, but for example not in Southern province. So when it comes to the south, I went to Krabi and Phang Nga provinces. This project was implemented together with Professor Sumitra Suradecha on many phases, core phases of this project when it comes to publications, conceptualization of research design, fieldwork research, and also conference speeches. During this project, we carried out many fieldwork research stays, and we carried out various interviews with representatives of language minorities in Thailand. So the first fieldwork phase started in March and April 2023. It was the moment when I didn't know any Thai language. It was my first time in Thailand, and it was a stressful event, but also I'm very glad that it started then, and then I met Professor Sumitra Suradecha. We continued fieldwork together, and this is also when I stayed at RILCA as a visiting scholar in November and December 2023. The next phases of fieldwork research took place in April 2024, and then April 2025, and November 2025. So now it's my sixth time in Thailand since 2023. During fieldwork research, we carried out interviews in several provinces, namely Chiang Mai province, Chiang Rai province, Nan province, and also Krabi province. In Chiang Mai, we had the opportunity to talk to the representatives of Aka, Daraang, and Karen communities. In Chiang Rai, there were interviews with the Aka, Daraang, and Kamu communities. In Nan, we met with the Malabri community, and in the Krabi province, there was an opportunity to carry out interviews with Urak Lawoi speakers. So altogether, we carried out interviews with Aka, Daraang, Karen, Kamu, Malabri, and Urak Lawoi speakers from various language groups. I'm sure that I don't have to explain these language families to the audience here in the room, but maybe if someone is less familiar online with this linguistic spectrum, then I wanted to explain that Aka is a Lolo-Burmese language, Daraang is an Austroasiatic language, similarly to Kamu and Malabri. Karen is Sino-Tibetan, and Urak Lawoi is a Malayic language. At the beginning of my lecture, you might have seen the introductory slide about multilingualism and biodiversity. So here I wanted to stop for a bit and talk about language and biology. And in fact, historical linguistics, this is where it all started, this narrative about the parallel development of languages and linguistics and biology. So it all took place in the 19th century. The 19th century scholars were surprised by the idea of evolution. And in fact, this idea of evolution created a revolution in linguistics and biology, because it was only then that the scholars realized that the contemporary shape of our language and of species has some ancestors in the past, so that there might have been some ancestral stage in the past, both of languages and of species. And in fact, it's very interesting, at least for me, that Charles Darwin's evolution theory was written later than the development of a scientific comparative methodology in linguistics, for example, by Jakob Grimm, by Rasmus Rask, or by Franz Bopp. And in fact, one of the neo-grammarians, a linguist, August Schleicher, he was even quoted as saying, the kinship of the different languages may consequently serve as a paradigmatic illustration of the origin of species. So we can see that in the 19th century, biology and linguistics went hand in hand. And in the 19th century, indeed, languages were related to species, or I'm sorry, were compared to species. And as we can follow this discussion, we can see today that languages and species are somehow similar on an abstract level. They have the birth, they have the life cycle, they have the death. Also, nowadays, the borders between species are a bit fluid, the same as with languages. So there are some parallels. And also, it has been noticed that there are some countries that have many endemic species, so local species, and at the same time, they have many endemic languages too. I'm going to show you this list later. And also, these endemic languages and species might be limited to a particular localization, and they might be threatened by less specific dominant species and languages. So this is an excerpt from a book by Harmon from 1996. These are just examples of countries where both high biodiversity and high multilingualism are present at the same time. I will just read them out. So, for example, Papua New Guinea and also Indonesia, Australia. I think that here on this list we don't have Thailand, but I am convinced that Thailand is also a biodiverse and very multilingual country. So how can we measure biodiversity and multilingualism? And in fact, there are many ways of measuring both phenomena, and there's no one agreement on that in science. So for example, the Harmon that I have just mentioned, so he also mentions, for example, monolingual non-weighted methods. What does it mean? So if we, like, the easiest way to check the probability of multilingualism in a given area is to find two persons, ask them to speak, and then count the probability that they will be speaking the same language. But this is a very primitive method, and that's why it's not really taken seriously anymore. Also, there are such factors that are being taken into consideration as richness, so variety of languages, evenness, which means that they are distributed in an even way, and also distance, which means how far languages are from each other. Also, another way of measuring linguistic diversity is counting the number of endemic languages, so local languages in a given area. Furthermore, there's another way of measuring it, for example, quantifying changing distribution of mother tongue speakers before the death of a language. So not after the, so not, the crucial stage in this methodology is to pay attention to the speakers of a language before the death of the language. And as we can see when it comes to measuring biodiversity, some of the measure methods are similar. For example, counting the richness of species, counting the endemic species, measuring genetic diversity in species, and also applying statistical methods, for example, Simpson index and Shannon index. Also, when it comes to biodiversity and multilingualism, factors which contribute to the decline in both types of diversity are urbanization, which causes the most dramatic change in developing or diverse countries. Also, conversion of wildlife habitat into pasture or cropland, like for example in Scotland in the 19th century, building roads and rail lines, and also the development of mining. So coming back to the project that we have just completed and that is focused on biodiversity and multilingualism, these are the main research questions that were posed. So, for example, how does the correlation between multilingualism and biodiversity in Thailand manifest itself? Another question that is crucial in this research is, how do minoritized language communities perceive their languages and multilingual environment? Also, do minoritized language communities depend on their natural environment in their mode of subsistence? If yes, do they notice any changes in the environment, and how does it influence these communities? Furthermore, how are language minoritized presented in, how are minoritized languages presented in international discourse, for example, in museum or travelers literature. And in this research, there were 4 types of methodology that were applied, and I'm going to discuss various types of research in the following slides. So we carried out semi-structured interviews, also we applied language portraits methodology, also quantitative analysis of large data sets was implemented, and also the critical discourse analysis. Of course, this research was carried out following international ethics standards. It was implemented in line with the Trust Code, which means Global Code of Conduct for Equitable Research Partnerships. It's a very short document, but I think it's very powerful, and I encourage everyone even to have a look at it and familiarize yourselves if it might be of your interest, because it's really compact and meaningful. Also, the research goals, they have been presented to the Ethics Commission of the Faculty of Artes Liberales at the University of Warsaw, and also the ethics statement was sent to Professor Sumitra at the beginning of the research. How did this research look like? So at the beginning of every interview, the participants were given the choice whether they want to have a look at the consent form orally or in writing. They were informed about the purpose of the study. They were also given the contact information to me in case they would like to follow up on the meeting. They also were informed that they can interrupt the meeting whenever they feel like doing so. And they were provided with the audio recordings and photos from the meetings, or persons who were like intermediaries in this communication, if this was the wish of the interview partners. Also, in some cases, the participants of the interviews, they were asked if they would like to be mentioned in acknowledgements or even as authors in some of the publications, depending on the role of a given interviewee in a meeting. So before maybe I'll just come back very briefly. So here I mentioned 4 types of methodology that were applied in the lecture. In the project. So I'm going to talk about the first one, semi-structured interviews. Interviews were carried out in several languages, in Standard Thai, in Khmer, in Pak Thai, and in English. And they included 3 groups of questions. Basic information about the interview participants. So, for example, age, region of birth, gender, occupation, level of obtained education. The second question set was devoted to language ecology of a given region, and also to the vitality of a language. So in other words, we asked our interview partners if they believe that their language is in a good condition, what is their prognosis for their language in the next years. And I have to say that most interviewees said that they see this future in a positive way, that they believe that the language will be spoken. We also, in this set of questions, we asked our interview partners if they would be interested in potential development of language technologies. The second set of questions referred to the natural environment and the knowledge of indigenous plants from the region. We also asked our interview partners if they noticed some changes in the environment. The third set of questions referred to the world of work and rest, and we asked here such questions as, for example, when did you when do people in your community start working or stop working? Does it ever happen? And also, for example, what do you perceive as laziness, and what do you perceive as being busy and hardworking? And of course, these interviews could not be carried out without the fantastic help and support and sense for communication of interpreters. And here one of them was also Professor Sumitra Suradecha. Also, we worked with a couple, Kuntui and Kunda. Kuntui is of Karen origin, and Kunda of Lahu. I also work with Mr. Bang Je in Kolanta. He translated from Paktai into English and in the reversed order. At the very beginning of my field work, I also worked with Mr. Tommy. He was of Karen origin, and he translated from Kamung to English and reversed. The same refers to Miss Sudo, who also guided me through Chiang Rai province and translated. And the last lady, her name is Miss Nonticha. And she's Darang, and she was kind to translate for me from Thai and Darang into English. Of course, I've been learning Thai language for some time, and I was able to carry out, for example, language portraits exercises with my Thai knowledge. But when it comes to this kind of qualitative interviews, qualitative studies, it was very necessary for me to rely on collaboration with the interpreters. Another method that was applied in this study refers to language portraits methodology. Language portraits constitute a methodology of exploring individuals' multilingual identities. So in other way, this is a very useful tool, especially in the field of education, to learn about linguistic biographies of students, also about what they want to show and what they don't want to talk about, for example, when it comes to languages. I'm going to explain the last sentence on the next slide when we will see some pictures. And the core activity in this methodology is about representing a student's language biography through the means of drawing. Also, the selection of colors and their saturation plays a role in this methodology. So in these exercises concerning language portraits methodology, students are asked to color a silhouette, so a figure of themselves, which represents them according to the language repertoire that they possess. So, for example, on the drawing of a human being, they mark different colors in different parts of the body where they feel their language, where they have some memories of a language, where they associate their body with parts with particular languages that they learned, that they have forgotten, that someone spoke to them, that they understand but they don't speak, for example, etc. That they like or that they don't like, for example. And after this exercise, students, but also adult people, they are asked to describe what motivated them to take particular decisions when they draw. So here I wanted to show one example. This language portrait was drawn by a Darang community member. And here you can see, so first of all, the person wrote the languages that they speak on the left-hand side. So here we have Pasa Thai, Pasa Palong, Pasa Thayai, and Pasa Angrit, I think. Is it Angrit? Yes. And so as you can see, these names are written in different colors. And then accordingly to this, like to the languages that they speak, this person drew particular parts of the body with a given color. And here I wanted to play a recording where the author of this drawing is describing it in Thai. I hope it will be possible to hear this. I hope it will be possible to hear this sound. I would like to minimize the. Maybe I can ask for technical help. Maybe I'll stop sharing just for a second. I need to look into the file, to the folder. So, oh yeah, okay, maybe now it will work. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to play it now. I hope it will be possible to hear that.
เกี่ยวเหลือง
ภาษาไทยผมใช้ในการพูดคุยกับเพื่อนในเมืองครับ แล้วก็ภาษาฝรั่งผมใช้ในการคุยกับเพื่อนที่บ้านว่าพ่อแม่ครับ แล้วก็ภาษาไทยใหญ่ผมใช้ในการคุยกับญาติพี่น้องที่ฝั่งพ่อครับที่เป็นไทยใหญ่ครับ แล้วก็ภาษาอังกฤษผมใช้ในการเรียนแล้วก็พูดคุยกับอาจารย์ครับ
ผมและบทมันเล่นได้ช่วย
ภาษาไทยอะไรคะมะแคน
มะแขวน
มะแขวนอ่ะค่ะ
ภาษาไทยผมใช้ใน
เกี่ยว
การ
เหลือง
ภาษาไทยผมใช้ในการพูดคุยกับเพื่อนในเมืองครับ แล้วก็ภาษาฝรั่งผมใช้ในการคุยกับเพื่อนที่บ้านว่าพ่อแม่ครับ แล้วก็ภาษาไทยใหญ่ผมใช้ในการคุยกับญาติพี่น้องที่ฝั่งพ่อครับที่เป็นไทยใหญ่ครับ แล้วก็ภาษาอังกฤษผมใช้ในการเรียนแล้วก็พูดคุยกับอาจารย์ครับ
Durian, yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your help. Okay, let's move back to the presentation. I'm aware that probably the sound wasn't the best, but it was a short. So normally, in normal conditions, it takes around 1 minute for a description. Of course, we would wish to hear more, but I noticed that on average, it's around 1 minute per speaker. The description of the decisions. So this person, I don't know if you heard the speaker, but the choice was motivated in the following way. This man, he speaks the Thai language in official settings, but at home he speaks Palong, so the Rang language. Furthermore, he also speaks Thai Yai. I think he used to speak with his friends in the past. And also when it comes to English, he used to speak with his teachers. So this is how he presented this picture. Maybe I'll move back very shortly so here I'm coming back to methodology list. We talked about semi-structured interviews, we talked about language portraits, and now we are moving to the quantitative analysis of large data sets. So also during the project, we collaborated with a student of bioinformatics, Ms. Michalina Wysocka, and we worked on the database with the help of HiDSQL software. Ms. Michalina Wysocka was collecting endemic names of plants in the selected provinces of Thailand, Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, and Nan. And also together we collected information and data about languages spoken in these provinces. So of course it was a selective research because we just worked on 3 provinces, but we wanted also to see what kind of results we will receive. So then with the help of Tableau software, Michalina created several visualizations and also some tables. To be honest, I was a bit surprised because it turned out that there is a huge multilingualism in these provinces, but when it comes to, for example, endemic plants, like very local, there were not many of them. Many of them are shared in other Southeast Asian countries. So in that sense, we could not really work with this data comparing putting this indicator one-to-one that that's the variety of endemic species equals the variety of languages. But also Michalina carried out some calculations on the representative numbers of populations of ethnic groups in Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, and Nan provinces. It can also be seen on these tables. And also, for example, because this is not everything, but she also created a visualization of the percentage of language speakers in whole province population, so also Thai-speaking population in Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, and Krabi provinces. Yes, so I'm sorry for switching. Now I wanted to also mention the fourth methodology that we applied in this project. And I also wanted to mention that it might be a bit maybe difficult to listen because it's a bit critical, but it's also a subjective view and it might change over new data. But there was an idea to carry out critical discourse analysis also in museums and travelers' books, and it was my conclusion that very often language minorities are romanticized in literature or in museum exhibitions, especially older exhibitions, or they are blamed for alleged backwardness. But this is when these exhibitions come from the 70s usually, or 80s. Sometimes in the newer exhibitions, they are prized for their environmental practices. Also in older documents, again, they are suspected of proneness to abusive substances. In the new exhibitions, they are celebrated as creators of unique handicraft. And also in the newer exhibitions and discourses, international discourses, they are asked for advice concerning indigenous, environmental, and culinary knowledge. So their indigenous knowledge is being highly evaluated. These are, of course, very introductory conclusions, and they are based on the analysis of museum exhibitions. I'm going to show you a list of these museums in a second, and also older academic literature and Western tourist literature. When it comes to the museums, these are several museums that I paid attention to, and I only paid attention to English language text, not Thai language text. So this can also be limiting. So it was the Highland People Discovery Museum in Chiang Mai, the Hill Tribe Museum and Education Center Chiang Rai, Lana Folkland Life Museum in Chiang Mai City Art and Cultural Center, Lampang Museum in Lampang, Koh Lanta Museum, and also Phang Nga Museum, which is not mentioned here. At the same time, I wanted to say that I was always being taken care in these museums by curators. I was also provided with fantastic information, with care, and I was really cherishing this opportunity to do this research. So I mentioned the examples of exoticization before, and here are just some excerpts from museums, but also from very, very harmful Western literature. Maybe I'll just read the first example. For the last 150 years, scattered through the mountains and valleys of northern Thailand, interesting and colorful indigenous peoples known as hill tribes, etc. So, of course, in the older exhibitions, we can come across this kind of terminology that these are colorful people, that they are they have a distinctive way, that they chose to live in isolation, etc. Actually, I apologize for attaching the last quote, but I just found it so appalling, and that's why I thought that it's a pity that in libraries we can still, and also everywhere in the world, we can find this kind of quotations. But for example, there's not enough literature written by indigenous communities. So This is just a thought. So I'm sure that everyone is here very familiar with what I'm going to talk about now. But again, this is just to make this presentation complete. So when it comes to the communities that live in the mountains in Thailand, there used to be a popular term in the past denoting them, Chao Khao, and in English it was translated as hill tribes. However, during my research days in Thailand, I learned from anthropologists, from linguists, that nowadays it's much more welcome to call these communities highlanders or highland communities. But also, again, these communities are so different from each other that it's really difficult to cover them under one term. So it's still a bit of inappropriate, I think, in some ways, but I understand that there's no other way to call them when we talk about communities living in the mountains. And the hill tribes, this term was coined or maybe made popular in the second half of the 20th century, especially alongside the development of the Tribal Research Institute. And then it was the time when the hill tribe problem was mentioned very often in literature. Because I'm going to talk about Urak-Lawoi community as well, I also wanted to mention that the Urak-Lawoi community is called Chao Tale, sea people, or Chao Nam, so people from the water or water people. Also sea gypsies, sea nomads. And during this very initial phase of interviews, because I only carried out 5 interviews during actually 2 days on Koh Lanta, I asked my interview partners if they don't find it harmful to be called sea gypsies, because, for example, where I come from, the word gypsy is a derogatory term, it's negative. But they said that no, I mean, at least those persons that I spoke to, they said that no, this is how we have been called in history and we don't mind that. But I'm also curious, maybe in the future, if I talk to more persons about it. But coming back to highland communities, even though northern provinces of Thailand are inhabited by many ethnic, linguistic, and cultural minorities, usually in museums they are represented as the group of 9 main minorities inhabiting these areas. And I think this is because of the Department of Public Welfare in the past that recognized these groups as the main groups. So those groups that are usually mentioned are Aka, Tin, Lahu, Lisu, Kamu, Lawa, Karen, Ya or Mien, Hmong. And here I also added those that I am familiar by now, so Darang, Malabri, and also other communities. And when it comes to the results of this project, there are some publications that are printed. One of them is an article, and the second one is an educational brochure. I hope, Smita, you don't mind if I show it. Okay. Please have a look in the room and move it to others. Please share it with others. Also, there are several publications in preparation. But apart from publications, also, I think what is really important is that we established or continues to establish or deepened, in case of Professor Sumitra Suradeja, a mutually respectful network with Karen, Darang, and Aka communities or their leaders. And also, I found it very valuable to carry out introductory short interviews with Malabri and Urak-Lawoi communities, and I hope for a future possibility to carry out work with these communities as well, as long as there's no research fatigue on their side, because I imagine that there are many researchers who are interested in these languages of these communities, and of course it has to be respected if communities want to collaborate or not. So let's see how it will be in the future. And also, one of these results of this project is that together with Sumitra, we prepared several joint grant applications and hope to submit also some in the future. Before, I mentioned that Thailand is a very multilingual country, and I very support this view. So again, for those who are maybe not so familiar with linguistic landscape in Thailand, Standard Thai is the official language spoken in Thailand, but there are also many other languages. For example, Khmer, spoken in northern Thailand, Pak Thai in the south, Isan in the northeast of the country, and approximately 70 other languages from 5 major language families. For example, Thai Kadai, Austroasiatic, Austronesian, Sino-Tibetan, and Hmong-Mien. And historically, Thai language has been under a substantial impact from the, I'm sorry for the type of Hmong language. And also in business administration, Chinese played an important role in the past centuries. Maybe someone in the room would like to, or on Zoom would like to maybe mention other languages spoken in Thailand. Maybe I missed something, and this is something very important to mention. Okay, if not, then maybe you can have some comments after the discussion, after the lecture. So I wanted to tackle the topic of biodiversity and multilingualism in 3 groups. One of them is the Karen community, the other one is Urak Lawoi community, and the last one, with a focus on multilingualism, will be Darang community. So in 2023, we started our collaboration with the Karen healer, Miss Nanya Lakwantan Loet. And she's also known under the name Mor Nan, so Dr. Nan. So this is when I met Mor Nan, but Professor Sumitra Soradecha was friends with her, of course, earlier. And during this project, we learned that the indigenous Karen knowledge is very focused on local environment and its functions. The local indigenous Karen knowledge includes information about nutritious and healing properties of plants that grow in, for example, in Samong subdistrict, Samong Thai subdistrict. And one of the results of our collaboration with Monan is the educational brochure that will be expanded with the participation of the authors. So we plan to add also audio files to the brochure, make it online, and add more examples. But this is a beginning. I realized that I wrote here 2026, but actually the brochure is from 2025. And the title is In the Garden of Mor Nan. So we started to collect information about the indigenous Karen knowledge in November 2023. Here on this photo, you can see Monan with her grandfather. So it was in November 2023 that Monan gave us a tour over her gardens and explained their healing properties. And it was also a valuable experience that Monan, thank you, that she was accompanied sometimes by her grandfather and her father, who passed down their knowledge, their indigenous Karen knowledge, to her.
อันนี้ชื่ออะไร
อันไหนคะ
อันนี้ชื่ออะไร
อันไหนคะ ชุมเห็ด
ชุมเห็ด
เทศ
อ่าฮะ
ไหนอันไหนในมือเหรอ
อือฮึ
ผักกูด
ผักขูด
อันนี้ขิงป่า อันนี้ชุมเห็ดเทศ
กินผ้าฉันเมื่อวานฉันเรา
อันนี้
ขูด
มีแล้ว ชุมเห็ดเทศมีแล้ว
มีแล้วโอเคโอเค
Oh, sorry. So on the previous video, you could see the second stage of work on the brochure. So we met again with Monan in April 2025, and we clarified some terms of plants. And this here, you can see the last stage of our collaboration on the brochure. It was in November 2025. So we met together Monan, Professor Sumitra Soradeche, and myself, and we decided what can enter the brochure, what we need to leave out for the future development of the project. And the brochure was divided between us, and hopefully it will be spread among interested partners, libraries, and schools. I think I will not show the whole brochure here, but I wanted to mention that also it includes some information about the condition of the Karen language in the Samung district. In the interview with Monan, we asked about the frequency with which she speaks Karen, for example, to her children, or where do her children speak Karen, and where do they speak Kamung, and where do they speak Thai, etc. So there's also an introduction in this brochure. Now I would like to move to the next community. Bless you. Urak Lawoi community. Here I have maybe not as vast experience, but I thought it's important to mention this linguistic Kollanta as a linguistically interesting place, and also from the point of view of biodiversity. So this part of the presentation will be devoted to Kollanta, the island, where I went in December 2023. When it comes to the population of Kollanta, it's inhabited by Muslims, by Buddhists, by followers of local beliefs. And when it comes to ethnicity, to my understanding, it's inhabited by Thais, by Malays, and also by Urak Lawoi communities. I was very impressed by the museum on this island because it has 3 different rooms, and they are the exhibits are presented in a democratic way, so to say. So, for example, on the left-hand side, you can see some items from Thai-speaking community. At the bottom, you can see a boat of a Urak Lawoi community, and on the right-hand side, you can see a wall with pictures of mosques that are important for the community from Kollanta. And in the middle, you can see a teacher who's also now a museum employee who was kind to share information with me about the museum. And to make things even more complicated or interesting, the museum is housed in a post-colonial style building. What I paid attention to when I was on Kollanta is that paradoxically, natural catastrophe was a unifying factor on Kollanta. It is deeply rooted in the collective memory of the inhabitants of this island. And on this poster in museum, there's a quote saying, "In nature, there are no classes, languages, race, or country." And I believe that the memory of the tsunami is still very present on Kollanta. I witness ubiquitous safety signs on the island. There's a very good signage, and I think that also this information in museum reminds everyone about the catastrophe. And also in interviews, tsunami played an important role during the conversations. These are some photos from Kollanta boats created by Urak Lawoi community. And these are some of the interview partners that I had the opportunity to speak to. For example, Kun Non, who's nowadays who works in tourism sector, and the interpreter. And then we have Kun Pidio, who's a very important figure, as I understand, also a leader in Urak Lawoi community in Tobalio village. We also have Kun Somchit, a teacher, and also the father of a friend of Kun Non with his granddaughter. And the villages that I was able to visit are called Tobaliu, Bang Sang-o, and Ban Saladan. But also, I think that it has to be said that Uraklawoy community members, they don't live in all villages of the island. They usually tend to live in dense communities together rather than being distributed. In the past, the Uraklawoy community had a much greater mobility in the search for resources for living. So the community was spending much more time on the sea, and the main source of livelihood was fishing. But nowadays, Uraklawoy community tends, as I understand, to have a more sedentary lifestyle, and the main source of income is tourism. So, or partially tourism. So there are many Uraklawoy community members who drive motorboats and who also work in catering, for example, because Koh Lanta also becomes a very touristy tourist attraction. And when I was carrying out research on Koh Lanta, I realized that water plays a very important role for the Uraklawoy community. First of all, it's a source of livelihood. And be it fishing or tourism, it's all connected to water. And secondly, also it plays a very significant role in language teaching. So for example, teaching materials at school in Bang Sang-o, they depict marine flora and fauna. And also one of the stories that the teacher of Uraklawoy language, Mr. Somchit, read to me was about a girl and a boy who went to the river to fish, to do some fishing. So everything is about water and animals living in water. And in interviews, the inhabitants of the village of Tobaliu, that they declare their attachment to Buddhism, and also they worship sea deities. And also, maybe it's not on the slide, but I also wanted to mention that fishers from Koh Lanta, they possess official materials showing which fish they are allowed to fish and which they don't. So also they notice that the environment is changing because there are more species nowadays that they cannot fish than in the past. And here are some didactic materials from the school where Mr. Somchit, I don't know if he still teaches Uraklawoy, but he used to teach Uraklawoy. So here are the materials. As you can see, there is a boy and actually a lady and a man fishing in a river. And these are my very introductory observations about the Uraklawoy language. So it seems to me that Uraklawoy is the first language to all of the speakers from Uraklawoy community and all of the interviewees. So, you know, just a few persons, but still are very optimistic about the condition of their language, and most of them pass their knowledge of Uraklawoy to their family members orally. Uraklawoy is not really learned by other language speakers, as I noticed. And also, despite the employment in tourism and despite the education system, fishing still plays a very important role in the lives of interviewees. And also economic considerations play an important role in the lives of Uraklawoy community. Of course, there are some conflicting aspects of tourism development and their mode of subsistence, which is also causing problems for Uraklawoy community members. And the members of Uraklawoy community, they mentioned that they see some changes in the Andaman Sea when it comes to the species of fish that they can find also. And when I asked Uraklawoy community members about well-being or happiness, for them this concept is related heavily to time spent with family. So just like any other, I guess, community. And out of curiosity, I asked my interviewee partners what do they perceive as laziness, and in their view, laziness means indulging in addictions. Now I would like to move to the last group that I would like to talk about today. Here I will focus more on multilingualism and language than on biodiversity aspect. So Dara'ang community speaks an Austroasiatic language. Dara'ang is also called Palong by some people and some communities. And in Myanmar, Dara'ang communities live mostly in the Shan state and in the Kachin state. And they arrived to Thailand mainly between they started coming to Myanmar 1982, 1984, when they fled from civil war torn Burma. And presently, there are mainly 4 districts in Chiang Mai province where Dara'ang community members are. For example, in the Phang district, in Chiang Dao district, in Mae Ai district, and in Uyang Heng district. And even though they are called Palong by Thai and Shan people, actually, I don't know, maybe it's an overgeneralization. So maybe it's not true. Maybe they are not called Palong by all Thai people, but by some. And also by international scholars, the term Dara'ang is preferred by the community. So those people that I spoke to, they prefer to be called Dara'ang. I was looking for some distribution map of Palong dialects, and I found this source in Thai literature by Sorn Srisom, who quoted Osatapirat, and I think Osatapirat is a very important source for language documentation in Thailand. Yes, the conducted interviews back then included 9 persons in the age from 30 to 83. 6 of them were Buddhist and 3 Christians. 7 of them were farmers, 1 hostel director, 1 hostel assistant, 5 women and 4 men in Chiang Dao and Phang district. And so I think that there's an important aspect to the Dara'ang community in Thailand. In my view, it seems to me that this is a community under a big influence of trauma in the past. So usually when they start interviews, they say that they are from a different country. This trauma is not very often not processed by refugees, and it is transmitted to next generations who then don't talk to their parents about it because it's too traumatic for them, for the parents. So then there's this area of silence around this topic. And then there's younger generation. I didn't speak to teenagers, so I don't know their views, but the elderly people are worried that the youngsters don't follow the Dara'ang traditions anymore. So from what I understood from interviews, for what I could interpret is that these past traumatic experiences are difficult, but the goal of the Dara'ang community nowadays is but it's to concentrate on fitting into the Thai society and to feel welcome, to feel appreciated, and to feel useful at work. Even though it was not the goal of the interviews, it turned out that we talked about a refuge from Myanmar to Thailand. So here are some quotes from this conversation. So for example, it took us 15 days of walk from our village in Burma to the village Ban Norle. I believe that everyone knows Ban Norle. It's a village in the north of Thailand where many Dara'ang community members live nowadays. It's not far away from Doi Angkan, I think so, yes. Another person mentioned it took us 3 to 4 days of walk from our village to Norle. I was 11, so it was not that difficult for me. So the second quote comes from an elderly lady from Phang district. These are difficult quotations, but I thought it's important also to talk about it. So this is one of the quotes. Older people died. Some women delivered a baby on the way. We had to hide and cross the Salween River. The group called Forest Army controlled our village. We were not allowed to leave. If someone wanted to leave, the army would force them to come back. If someone wanted to flee, they could not tell anyone, even the relatives. And even the forest, even if the forest army left the Dara'ang village, the Dara'ang community suffered from the Burmese army, who punished them for allegedly helping the forest army. This is a quotation, so I'm saying what I was told. And also, apart from that, there are other traumas that are present among the Dara'ang community members. Some of them are inspired by religious differences. Some Dara'ang community members are Buddhist in Thailand, and some of them are Christian. So also I talked to one interviewee who told me that she was expelled from her village by one group, and she had to move to another one. So she was forced to leave her home twice in her life. And I believe that this kind of situations result from unprocessed traumatic experiences. But yes, so maybe I will leave it here. And also, some Dara'ang community members find it difficult to apply successfully for citizenship, and also addiction to opium and alcohol can also cause some problems. I do not want to stigmatize here, but I'm just quoting what I was being told in the interviews. So what did I learn from the interviews with Dara'ang community? Many Dara'ang community members are multilingual, so they learn the languages of their neighbors. They speak Dara'ang, they speak Shan, Lahu, Northern Thai, and Standard Thai. And usually their neighbors don't learn Dara'ang because the community is too small. This is also the view of the Dara'ang speakers. And there are grassroots efforts to stay in touch with the Dara'ang community close to Kalo in Myanmar. I met with Dara'ang speakers who bring educational support to Kalo, but it's always a very risky travel. And so they risk their lives, their safety, their health, if they want to support Dara'ang communities on the other side of the border. Dara'ang is written down in two writing systems with the help of the Burmese script in Myanmar and also with the Thai script in Thailand. And Dara'ang communities in the Chiang Mai province creates educational materials to learn Dara'ang language in two scripts mentioned above. So I find it very interesting and good that the community doesn't differentiate between scripts, which is better, which is worse. They produce materials for themselves, but also for Dara'ang speakers in Myanmar. And I noticed that Dara'ang speakers are very active with modern language technologies. They use Facebook, TikTok, and these social media are used by almost all generations of the Dara'ang community. I noticed also, maybe I'm wrong again, because in some sense, I'm an outsider, but it seems to me that Dara'ang community is not well known in Thailand, and I was wondering why. And I think this is because they started migrating to Myanmar, to Thailand, relatively late in the 80s, and the institution that was monitoring minorities, the Tribal Research Institute, was closed in 2002. So I think that since then there were not really administrative reports concerning language minorities in Thailand in a detailed way, but maybe I'm wrong. It's just my assumption. And I'm happy to discuss it later on. And also, I noticed that because of that, Dara'ang community is not really visible in the tourist sector of Thailand in comparison to, for example, Akha or Karen communities. And also, I noticed that there is an internal religious division of the Dara'ang community in northern Thailand. And I noticed that there's no will to cooperate and live together in the same villages. And so I heard about conflicts, people move to different locations to stay with their religious groups. And this will be all. Thank you very much for your attention. Shall I stop sharing?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Joanna Dolinska. It's now time for the questions and answers. Do we have any questions from the room here or from the online?
Thank you, Professor Joanna. Thank you so much. And we have learned a lot from your work, many years that you have conducted the research. And you also presented of many ethnic group in Thailand. Even we are in like an institute that we research on ethnic. We haven't got great chance as you that you have traveled to different part of Thailand and work on the field trip. This is very impressed. I have got two questions. The first one is I would like you to further elaborate how critical discourse analysis can be applied to your work. You already mentioned about the way how like a museum had looked at the ethnic group. How would you integrate the concept of critical discourse analysis in the biological field or like diversity or like biodiversity in your work in any of your research group? That one was the first question. And the second question, I would like you to talk a little bit more about non-linguistic expression. For example, like Daraang people or Karen people, do they still wear their costume, traditional costume, or they have already changed, or what kind of non-linguistic expression that they have practiced nowadays? Thank you.
Thank you very much for these two very interesting questions. First of all, when it comes to discourse analysis, I applied the following elements of discourse analysis. But first, when it comes to museums, so I focused on, for example, the subject and object. So are language minorities presented in the first person, like as subjects or as objects in the sentence? Secondly, what kind of adjectives are attached to language minorities? Also, what is the argumentation structure? So what are the connectors in the sentences? Is it a persuasive language, for example, or is it a more informative language? So it was rather a basic set of tools for discourse analysis. I didn't go very deep, but I wanted to see what are the features of this discourse, what is drawing attention, how are language minorities positioned in the discourse. When it comes to biodiversity, discourse on biodiversity, I did not go into this direction yet, but actually your question inspired me to look for additional applications of discourse analysis also in this field. I think that the language of reports would be one thing, but I understand that newspapers, articles, for example, in Thailand and also maybe international press would be something worth having a look into. And also how the discourse about biodiversity conservation is shaped, who are the actors and like in which way the persuasion goes. For example, is it on the side of minorities who inhabit the regions that are biodiverse, or rather on the state policies of ecological conservation? Thank you. I hope that I answered your question. And when it comes to the second question, of course, I have not been to many Karen villages, but one of them was in the Changdao district, and where the speakers of Karen language, they were wearing the traditional Karen clothes. And I found it very interesting because I found them very similar to the ones that I saw in Myanmar when I worked there. When it comes to Daraang community, I think that when it comes to Karen, rather elderly people, persons wear this kind of clothes. But in the Daraang community, I think that still this tradition of making one's own clothes is very lively. For example, one of the translators that I mentioned, Kun Non-Ticha, or Non-Ticha, as I called her, she makes herself the dress, and also her friends, she orders a skirt from a neighbor and she showed me also the jackets that she wears. And when I met her mother and her aunties in an interview, they were also wearing these clothes. I can imagine that maybe they wanted to also show their traditional clothes in presence of a researcher, so I understand that it might be a possibility. But when I looked in the village around and I looked at elderly people, they also wore these clothes. So I think they still take care of this element of tradition. Thank you.
Thank you for your share, your research in Uttarpradesi
Yes.
and in Landa Island. So, I have been in Landa, but in the MPPV project in Landa also. So I would like to know that what the recommendation would you give for the researcher and the educator like in Landa area who are working with the community Uttarpradesi, the rural community, to support both language revitalization and environmental knowledge. You suggest me to for the next project.
Thank you very much for this question. And I'm also happy to learn more about your experience on Lanta, and also maybe after this lecture, because I find it a very fascinating region. When it comes to recommendation, I think that I could look at what at the revitalization efforts, for example, in Poland, where we also have some minorities. So one important thing is creating theater or any artistic groups that that deliver plays in the language under protection, because not only first language native language speakers take part in these events, but also I noticed that many people who learn this language, who, for example, don't know it anymore, but their grandparents used to know it, they become encouraged because they can practice, they can train, they can meet new people. So I think this is something very interactive that could take place. Another story I heard from my colleague who works on the Amazonian languages. So when it comes to biodiversity, she said that there are elderly people in the community who know the language, but young people don't. So these elderly people take them on one-day trips to the jungle, and then they sing, because in their group singing is an important factor of cultural transmission, and they show the names of the plants in a given language. So maybe I don't encourage anyone to sing, but maybe organizing short trips for students and talking, giving them indigenous names of plants and fauna examples is a good choice to follow, for example. But also, I learned that the real transmission is at home, not really at school. So I think that what I would support is also organizing workshops for parents and showing some advantages of multilingualism and using some scientific proofs, for example, that people who speak many languages or learn postpone Alzheimer's disease, this kind of things, like benefits for health when we speak more languages, because that encourages people even at elderly age to learn some words of a new language. This is what I noticed what is done in Poland as well. Thank you. Also, dementia starts later. That's what I've heard, when people learn new languages.
Okay, we have a question from online by Sarah Shepherd. Okay. So she said, thank you for your interesting talk. In your research, you interviewed a wide variety of people. Do you have any advice for how to build healthy rapport? And how did you establish the trust required for them to speak openly and honestly about themselves?
Thank you very much for this question, Sarah, and thank you for your nice comment. So I believe that everything takes time, and I felt really comfortable when carrying out interviews. I think only at the end of last year and now, because we've been meeting these communities so many times that we build trust naturally over time. But I also think that, and I think it's natural. I think there's like before we start running, we have to learn how to walk first. So also another factor is that I usually share my story that I'm also from a region where minority language is spoken, and this language, Polakian language, was stigmatized in the past. People who spoke it, they were perceived as, as backwards, as not educated, as not intelligent. And for these reasons, very few people dare to speak about it today. Another factor, I think, is that translator or cultural mediator also plays a very important role. So, for example, I was very thankful that Professor Sumitra was friends with some of the interview partners that I could talk to. But also, for example, the couple that I traveled with, the missionaries, Mr. Bulczak and Punda, they were friends with Daraang persons who shared with me the gruesome experiences from taking refuge from Myanmar. And I think it was only possible because they felt secure, safe with the translators that they knew. So the key to success, I think, is to create calm, convenient, comfortable, and discreet conditions for a conversation where everyone feels safe, listened to, and that everyone feels that they have a choice to continue or close the conversation at some point.
Okay, do we have any more questions or feedback or comments? Yes, I'll say thank you. Okay, if not, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, Dr. Dolińska, for your interesting and insightful presentations, and for information for our staff and those who are interested, as well as our students. Joanna will be staying with us for about a month. So if you would like to have a meeting with her, exchanging experiences or asking questions, then feel free to contact me or Mirinda, Dr. Mirinda, who is basically the host of the linguistic forum here. So we can make an appointment for you to meet. Yeah. So thank you so much, and we also have a token of appreciation for you. So may I ask Dr. Mirinda to present the token of appreciation for Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Mirinda. Thank you. Thank you.